One wrong move and you could end up being dinner for a woolly mammoth. That's right.
Imagine facing a prehistoric giant with nothing but your bare hands. You are Grug, the unwitting caveman who has to figure out how to negotiate with big furry monsters without even saying hello.
But how did ancient humans communicate before they had words?
You might think life in the Paleolithic era was super simple, but spoiler alert, Grug did not wake up every day and just grunt.
Nope. Life was pretty complex.
Without words, Grug needed to figure out some way to signal not food when facing a saber-toothed tiger. I mean, it's not like "please don't bite my face off" was written in the Caveman handbook.
So what did they do? They used their bodies.
That's right, gesture, mime, and lots of wild hand motions. It's like a prehistoric version of a TikTok dance challenge, but with more danger and way less avocado toast.
Grug imagines trying to explain a plan to catch dinner while also trying not to catch dinner.
Very stressful. Grug say throw rock, not Grug hungry. But here's the crazy part. They also had storytelling around the fire. Picture this, a group of cavemen sitting around a campfire, trying to share stories while avoiding smoke in their eyes.
Grug remember great hunt. Grug see mammoth. But wait, look behind, it's apple. No, it's not apple, it's angry bear. Sounds riveting, right? Eco-feedback from ancient smoky fires. And speaking of ancient art, those cave paintings you've seen? They're like the first attempt at Instagram.
A little less filtered but with way more blood. Grug painted just to remember that one time he climbed a tree to escape a bear. The bear could not remember it and probably would not have liked the post anyway. But here's the wild kicker, they couldn't just rely on gestures and pictures. They had to trade goods and negotiate.
That's right.
All those thousands of years ago, Grug was dealing with the same stuff you are now.
You try explaining why you borrowed the last piece of mammoth jerky and didn't return it.
Grug need new spear.
You help Grug, I help you. It's the original give me a follow for a follow.
Now, modern humans love to brag about how developed we are, but listen, Neanderthals had it figured out with their hyoid bone.
This little bony marvel gives us humans the ability to speak, and guess what? Neanderthals had one too.
They were likely speaking the human range. Imagine Grug learning how to announce "I need some help," instead of "get away from me, big cat." It's almost like they had their version of ghosting gone wrong.
So let's count it down, 5 ways they communicated before words took over the world. Number 5, the Great Gesture Wars. Imagine a prehistoric game of charades that went horribly wrong. Grug say "I love you," but it looked a lot like "I'm stealing your dinner." Oops. Number 4, the all-fire hazard fire stories.
Grug wants to tell the story of Tato the Great Hunter. But every time Grug tries, smoke makes everyone cough. Grug think bear more interesting than this smoke.
Number 3, ancient trade deals. You give Grug fish, Grug give you shiny rock. Wait, shiny rock wrong size. Grug same height as fish. You can't even make this stuff up. Number 2, the cave paintings of confusion. We've all seen those paintings. Grug try paint mammoth but accidentally paint dog. Grug not explain. Just hope no one tries to pet it. And the number 1 way cavemen communicated with each other? The early dating game. Grug see pretty cave woman. Grug gesture let's commune over mammoth steak. She gesture you smell like smoke, Grug. And it gets worse. Dating in the prehistoric era basically looked like what we today refer to as situationships, just more rugged. 60% chance you get rejected after asking for a piece of fruit because you've lost your edge, and boom. You're back at square one. But here's the real shocking part, these early humans were not just ham-fisted idiots. They had trade goods moving hundreds of miles. That requires some serious negotiation skills. If there's anything Grug learned from those ancient peoples, it's that understanding body language was basically the equivalent of a PhD in diplomacy. You shake hand, but Grug still no trust you. Now, why does all this matter? Because modern humans, with all their technology, still rely on some good old-fashioned communication. We spend hours texting, using emojis. So Grug asks, what happened to good old-fashioned grunting? Or even, let's just scream into the void? So next time you think you have it tough with dating apps and negotiating plans with friends, remember this: at least you don't have to communicate with a woolly mammoth, trying to avoid being its snack while also asking what's for dinner. And as always, just remember, Grug's still mad about the mammoth. Fire good, mammoth bad. So, until next time, keep your gestures strong, your fire smoky, and if you can, avoid negotiating with animals. Because when it comes to cavemen talking without words, well, it's all just too wild. If you enjoyed learning how Grug managed without modern convenience, hit that subscribe button so Grug can keep explaining the funny bits of prehistoric life. Grug also sees a world full of signs. It wasn't all smoke and mirrors, though sometimes it was just smoke. Grug remember when he tried to tell his friend how to find food by drawing in the dirt. Grug wrote, "Big mammoth here, but had bad hand." Looked more like tiny rabbit, and now Grug's friend is hunting for a snack while Grug goes home empty-handed. Drawing in dirt had its ups and downs. If rain came, all hope washed away, just like Grug's hopes of scoring some food. But think about it. They communicated through symbols too. When Grug wanted to remember something super important, he'd take some bright ochre and a rock and leave a mark on the cave wall. Picture this: Grug gets an idea. Draw mammoth with arrows flying at it. Grug hunting, not painting. But Grug good at both. What's wild is that these drawings might not only have been for Grug's eyes. Imagine some other caveman comes across Grug's art months later. Whoa! Look at this, it's a mammoth. They must have been delicious. Little did they know, Grug just spent all night trying to carve his name into it, Grug, the mighty hunter, underneath a very sad stick figure. But here's where it gets even twistier. You wouldn't believe how much they talked without actually opening their mouths. This brings us to body language. Grug say gestures are like body hacks to survive. Can you imagine? Grug approaching bear. Hands raised, trying to look bigger. Grug no snack. But bear not impressed. Grug learns bear likes snacks that run slower. Now, just like modern humans, cavemen had their ways to show they meant business. If someone showed up at a cave uninvited, putting hands on hips was the ancient equivalent of "I am not impressed." And if they stood with their arms crossed over their chests? It was the ultimate "let's settle this later" pose. Grug might not have word for no, but Grug definitely had look. The stone-cold stay away stare. And let's not forget about fire, oh glorious fire. Grug loves fire. Fire allows for storytelling but also adds drama. Grug tell tale of great hunt. Use flickering flames to illustrate the bravery. Grug hunt mammoth, or at least smell one. The shadows dancing meant every caveman had to act a little, make it theatrical. Can't just sit there and stare at the flames. Grug gesture many things. Grapples. Jumping. Grug love drama. So imagine this, it's not just storytelling, it was like the ancient version of a Netflix binge. Everybody would gather round, roasting meat, and Grug would go, "I got story." Not real story, but Grug make it sound real. They'd laugh, they'd cry, and someone always ends up too close to the fire. Always too much smoke, not enough mammoth, Grug says while waving hand in front of face. But here's why this really matters. As Grug said earlier, they traded. These ancient exchanges were like the first version of eBay. You want rock? I want food. But how can we agree on price? Using good old-fashioned hand signals. The original haggling. 2 wagons for a bison leg. No? How about 1 wagon and 2 rocks? Trade was critical. If Grug needed something and couldn't hunt, he got creative. A little dusting of ochre and suddenly a dull stone became a work of art. Just add sparkles. Grug say. 1 shiny rock could take Grug's bargaining game to an entirely new level. Grug trade. You take shiny rock, trade food. No, not for shiny rock. You swipe left on that. Now, let's dive a little deeper into daily life.
Just like you all struggle with the latest social media trends or understanding your roommate's cooking, cavemen had their woes too. For example, communication at the dinner table must have been a circus. Grug say, "More mammoth, please." But Grug just point at meat. Grug not learn yet to say please. Now picture messy meals, half-eaten meats, messy hands. Grug finish eating. Whole cave smells like mammoth. And then Grug try with big gesture, "Can someone take my plate?" Spoiler alert, it was still Stone Age, so no one knew what he meant. And somebody always decided to grab the food first. Hey! Grug not done yet. And when it came to relationships, wow, what can Grug say? Grug hit on Cavewoman. Grug used best gestures, food, flowers, and best cave drawing. She just smile then points at other cave guy with bigger rock. Grug now learn, it's all about the rock size. Dating during Grug's time sounds like your average good old Tinder mess. Grug swipes right. This one knows how to hold an axe. Even friendship was full of challenges. Grug say, "Help me build fire." And friend grunt, "No." So Grug think, maybe bad idea? But really need fire. Just like in modern times when you need that supportive friend to help you through snack runs. Friend leave Grug in cold for mammoth. It's a betrayal of the worst kind. Grug consider revenge via smelly rags. Amazingly, even in the process of moving, cavemen communicated without words. Grug help neighbor move cave, use no words. Lots of grunting, pushing, and dragging mammoth bones. Eventually, someone fall. Grug say, "You okay, friend?" but just point at hurt arm. Grug hopes for best. How to fix? Grug is no doctor. And here's the kicker, as skills grew, so did some wild forms of communication through sound. They definitely had some musical offerings. Picture Grug trying to tell a story with rhythm. Grug grabs stick. Drum on rocks. Ancient rock band? You bet. They had a community vibe, creating beats to signal now is time to feast. So after all this hazy smoke, multiple gestures, awkward hugs, and rock-heavy gifts, what's the takeaway? Thousands of years ago, Grug and his friends navigated their world with as much nuance, humor, and creativity as we do today. Speech? Overrated. Grug go home, his gestures and symbols tell story more clearly than words ever could. Relationships, friendship, and survival all boil down to the same principle. Communication is funny, sometimes confusing, and eternally vital. Grug might not have known every word in the cave dictionary, but Grug had charm, healthy gestures, and a rock-solid strategy. So next time you try to charm someone over text, remember, Grug made it work without a smartphone. Just a good hand gesture, and the occasional surprise drumbeat. Keep those arms moving, and those fires burning bright. Until next time, Grug's still mad about the mammoth and now very hungry. Stay tuned for more ancient wisdom and awkward moments, straight from Grug's cave.